With a groan, I sit up. As I feel the grass between my fingers, I mentally score the evening, starting with several points for the blurred image of myself stumbling off a bus. Another few come soon after for hanging on to the bottle of wine, Tesco's own, nothing but the finest for one such as myself, even at this time of night. I then grudgingly have to take off 1 or 2 points for the lack of aftertaste in my mouth. Usually the bitter taste of a night's endeavours is the perfect wake-up call. Not tonight. For a moment, a sensible thought creeps in, and I quickly check for my wallet. Gone. It's another night of waking up with just a bottle by my side. 10 points to the great Carter Marsh, or Carter Marsh as my provisional reads, not that anyone has ever questioned it. I hop to my feet, brushing down my clothes. With a sigh, I give up. I could straighten them with a luxury iron and they'd still be this tattered. After mentally giving myself more points for an adventurous night, the hill under my feet becomes apparent. I stroll off with grace, enough not to hit the tree growing begrudgingly off the path. A stretch of old cobblestones lead down to the quiet dark of an underpass. Large stylized letters reading "Blue" sprawled across the side of an entrance bring a smile to my face. Not too far from home then. I clutch my throat. My voice is quieter than I would have thought. Still, it may have just been a great night out. I check again for my wallet. Despite there being no sign of my backpack, I shrug it off. Before I panic, it would be better to remember the evening. Probably at Claire's. When I part my hair from my eyes, I take a moment to feel the strands. For a time, under the light of an old lamppost, I just stand there, feeling my hair. Each strand feels empty, like I'm tracing the image of it rather than the real thing. Did I get something in it? You'll get used to it. I flinch. The voice still echoes within the dark of the underpass for a second more. As I approach, the shape against the wall under a blanket of rags becomes clearer. They aren't looking at me directly. Their gaze, secure under a wool hat, looks to the gutter they rest on. Evening, I greet. You'll get used to it, they repeat, their voice too hoarse for me to make out anything about them. Under all those layers, they could be 3 times smaller. Thank you, I squeak. You have a good night. With that, I stride into the underpass, keeping my sights locked onto the other side. Granted, I can't see it too well, but it's the principle of the matter. I know this place. Lord knows how many times I've passed through it. Tonight it feels wider. The dirt under my feet doesn't crunch like it should. My breathing doesn't spawn a tiny echo in the dark. Instead, the last thing I hear as I leave the underpass is the stranger speaking up. I'm sorry, you'll get used to it. Looking back, the stranger is still slumped to the ground. Something wiggles under their sheets. As soon as the claws scratched against the ground, I walked away, leaving the person and their pet to rest. The road above is quiet. Silence doesn't suit me, so I sing. I can't tell you what I sing, but I know it's off-key. A rumble on the horizon. I look out, waiting for a streak of light to rush across my view. The ground remains still, as do I at the top of the other side of the underpass. While I can't see them, I know the stranger still lays in the dark. Making a mental note to come back with something warm for them to eat, I stride into the brick forest of state houses, my body snaking through the small passageways in a route I've taken many times and will no doubt take many more times in future. The rumble grows. Closer this time. It's closer than the road now is to me. Quickening my steps with the rumble now on a loop, I realise it's not the sputter of an engine. I've heard it before in the dead of night. Teeth, claws, a low, coarse growl. I learnt long ago not to go near dogs when drunk. They have little patience for an overly annoying man who reeks of semi-cheap wine. I smell my clothes quickly. I push the uncertainty it comes with not being able to smell anything aside in favour of taking a look over my shoulder. Nothing. I slow down under the beam of a flickering street lamp. The growling continues, but I don't see a dog. I do see the houses either side of me, fine examples of council houses, they show their class with the graffiti painting the iron doors, shielding them from any more people. Boarded windows stare back at me, broken pieces of wood not too far away embedded into the ground of the front garden. Next street along, I mutter. Silence. Where the sounds of the growling once ruled, I am left with little more than the wind raking through the grass. I'd rather not risk it. Dog? No reply. Hello? Same result. This time of night, I'm not surprised I don't have any company. Wait. A quick pat of my pocket shows I don't have my phone either. Oh, that's going to be fun to try and track down. I flick my wrist, letting my sleeve drop down to reveal my watch. It's there at least, I think. My eyes strain to read it. A blur of numbers tell me little more than it's late. A bark cracks through the night like thunder, causing me to scurry along the street, scanning the houses for my crooked fall. I can hear it now, louder than before, its paws running fiercely along the ground. Skidding to a halt, I see it from the other direction. A creature looking more like a living silhouette than an animal stands before me. It sits down in the doorway opposite, giving me a wide yawn. Evening? I muster out. Dog grows with each long, steady breath it takes in. I back up into a door. Keeping my eyes locked on its fur, I feel around for a door handle, hoping by only the faith a desperate person can muster that they left it unlocked. The fur glistens. No. Fur is the wrong word. In front of me is a shadow, a missing piece in reality, shaped like a dog. Once it's as big as a cow, phasing through the wall of the door, it stands back up. I shut my eyes. Waiting for it is the hardest part. I picture it from a dozen different angles, but always with teeth bared, coming at me. Nothing. I listen out for its growl, or the patter of its paws. Silence, for the first time that night, comforts me. Hesitantly, I open my eyes again, finding that I'm alone in an open doorway. Luck tonight favours the so down on his luck he's high-fiving the devil, as I notice that the door is close to falling on itself. The dog is gone. Hello? I call out. Sorry about the intrusion, it's been a long night. Can I borrow a phone to call my roommate? A glint from the front of the door pulls me close to it. Bouncing off the dull light of the street lamp outside is a rusted 4. On the wall, greeting me in my own home, is my face, smiling awkwardly next to the underside of a car. I could call myself unphotogenic, but the advert was enough to give the garage a boost in customers. Never mind, Jill, I chuckle. Remind me to call Claire in the morning. The reassuring groan down the stairs doesn't come. Is she out? I creep further into the house, keeping an ear out for the door. The landlord isn't going to be happy about paying for that. Wallpaper peeling off the top of the hallways, the barest plates and cupboards without doors, coats on the back of chairs. I'm home. Correction, just the one coat. Mine. I knew I was forgetting something. Wait. I stop and look around the kitchen. The shapes of everything I expect is here, but like the watch, I can't focus on anything. Is the tap dripping, or is that the clock ticking? I look to the clock for answers, but neither of the hands are clear. The faintest outline of a picture nearby, one I know to be of Claire and Jill on their first date, might as well just be a piece of the wall. I dash out of the room, charging up the stairs as loud as I can to wake up Jill. Despite the force I use, I'm still basking in a quiet house. As I turn to thrust myself into her room, my ajar door catches my attention. My watch hangs on the handle, a wilting flower tucked into a gap in its chain. I lift my hand up, shaking down my sleeve again. Gone. Its mark is still ingrained into my skin, but the watch itself is swinging gently on the handle. I wander into my room with the soul of a stranger in an abandoned home. My room. My room? The shell of it is here, the desk with its missing drawer, the boxes jutting out of the bed, the ceiling fan half intact, but the colour is gone. A mound of pictures stare back at me from the comfort of my bed. Only the eyes are clear. They stare. No. Their stares push me back out the room. I stumble to Jill's door. As my hand draws close to the handle, the growling from inside shakes the hinges. The dog sniffs at the underside of the door. Steam streams from its nostrils, becoming a fog which engulfs me. "Jill!" I try to scream. The sound of the dog clawing at the door echoes in the fog, bearing down on me over and over until I collapse to my knees. Wood creaks. Scratching stops. My arms buckle, causing my chest to crash to the floor. I lay in the centre of the fog, the noise gone. The dog stands over me, watching each twitch of my body. Minutes, hours, they blend together into the irrelevant before I manage to push myself up. As the fog dissipates, I see the bushes, run my fingers over the grass until they brush against a familiar glass bottle. My feet manage to find balance thanks to the tree just on the edge of the path. The dark of the underpass is at my side again. Before I can step away, my gaze lands on something on the tree. My awkward smile beams back at me, framed by the faded lines of a fine newspaper. It's pinned to the wood, a flower tucked into the gap between paper and bark. I hate that photo. That growl bears down my back. It's a paradox of boring fire married to numbing ice, the breathing wrapping around my neck like a noose. It lowers its head, staring silently at the ground. I try my luck with a single step away. The hound moves in front of me, letting out a sharp whine until I give up. Fine. I look down. My face stares back at me, or rather the memory of it does, with eyes extinguished of light. I lay there still, skin a sickly pale even under a new light growing behind me. In the distance the sun rises. The night doesn't yield. Instead, the scene looks like someone slapped a permanent night over the actual footage of the world. When I look back, the other me is gone. Dying bouquets of flowers now lay where I did. I tried to push aside the images of blood dripping from my mouth to turn to see the dog. Its fur stands on end, now a bleached white. "I'm sorry," the wind slithering through me says.